Okay. Okay. I finally. Listen, I've been having shit luck getting permission for garbage. I found out Bellycorn here has permission for Podfics as long as I send them the fic. Like the completed thing. So I'm gonna do that. So their permission statement is actually on their what's it called? On their profile here. Here, I'll just really quickly show it up. Let me see. Window captcha. Okay. Hide my background real quick. And there it is. To all the lovely pod figures out there, you're more welcome to post podfics in my fix. Only have two requirements. Credit me somewhere. Listen, I literally am going to put the link in the description, and the name is on the thumbnail because I do that. I like basically making cover art for people. And two, tell me about it. Yeah, I'm gonna tell them about it. And yeah, very nice author for having that. Let me grab my thumbnail back up again. There we go. I also got permission for a series finally. It's a cat series. It's a cat series. Um, so I actually knew this author's Discord. So I was messaging them on Discord, and I was like, "Hey, I know you were debating podficking your own shit, but can I?" And they're like, "Yeah, I was going to, but life." Yeah, sure, go for it. So that's gonna be another thing that I'm gonna have to do a very weird permission shit for. But I needed to record something. So we're gonna record this little one shot. Time to. Oh, I forgot my tea! I'm gonna have to grab tea in a second here. Let me read the tags real quick. Genfic, what do you expect from me? Bokuno, MHA. Azawa and Tsukachi, Midoriya and Tsukachi, Azawa and Tsukachi, and is never a ship. I want to state this because I've noticed some people get that confused. And always means they just know each other. Friends, enemies, whatever, they know each other, they interact. Slash is ships. No ships are in this thing. Characters, Eraserhead, Tsukachi, and Midoriya. Also, you're gonna hear me butcher some names. Eraserhead is so done. Eraserhead adopts Midoriya Zuko. Tired Ozawa Shoda. Tsukachi Namasa needs a break. Tsukachi Namasa is done. Tired Tsukachi Namasa. Tsukachi Namasa needs a raise. Tsukachi Namasa is a good friend. Ozawa Shoda is Eraserhead centric. Crack treated seriously and silly. And I think this is also translated to another language? I'm not sure. But there's like a weird tag thing here. Someone called the detective by Bellycorn. Summary. Namasa was surprised to see the other detective calling. Even was he more surprised when the man gritted out a request for him to join the team. All in all, it made no sense. Until, of course, he entered the room and found Eraserhead lounging at the back, watching him through Flint's sleep. Ah, that explained it. The hero's approval was notoriously hard to win, and Tsukachi was one of the very few who had somehow won it. He sighed softly, not missing the way Eraserhead's lip twitched into a smirk at the sound. He would owe Namasa a drink after this one. Or 3 times Eraserhead calls Tsukachi as backup when he really didn't need it. Plus, one time he gave the detective's number to 20 kids. And I'm gonna get onto the fic, but I'm gonna first make tea. So, make a tea. Okay, quick thing. I completely forgot. This fic has a phone number in it. Do not call this phone number. I'm pretty sure it's a bullshit number, and I don't even know if it's a valid phone number because I didn't look. Do not call it. It's a fake number. Please do not call whoever the hell it is if it actually works. I beg. Eraserhead growled in annoyance. Having gotten himself involved in a case on a specific gang after bringing in one of those members. Now he was sat here, surrounded by an unconfident and incompetent team who were debating which of their two terrible plans they should follow. Someone called Detective Sukachi. Eraserhead demanded when he simply couldn't take it anymore. It was too damn stupid. Uh, I'm the lead detective on this case. One of the idiots in the room replied. If Eraserhead remembered right, the man was Detective Taru, with a mild strength enhancement quirk. None that was particularly important, though, so he hadn't actively stored it in his brain. All it could by all means be and it could by all means be wrong. Good for you. Can you call Detective Sukachi now? Do we have someone who needs us to use his quirk on them? Detective Takaru asked, the confusion clear in his voice. Eraserhead really didn't care, though. No. Then why do you need him here? Eraser looked the detective up and down, trying to understand just how fucking stupid they could be, before groaning at the realization that he would have to spell it out for the man. If I have to be on this damn case, then I want someone who I can trust is competent on it. So either call Detective Sukachi or let me go home. I don't care which. I am the lead detective. You are on my case, and I get to say who comes and goes. We let you in this case because you have a history with minimal casualties in your takedowns, and we did not have a hero assigned to the case. We do, however, have a detective, me. We do not need Detective Sukachi. Eraserhead raised an eyebrow. The detective continued yelling at him. Eraserhead continued to not care. After about 15 minutes, he simply stood from his chair. I have seen enough. Your detective work is sloppy. We have very little information to go on, and your plans are bad enough for me to actively recommending everyone in this room to leave this case if they can. I also will be letting many other heroes know that this is a case I don't feel safe even though the case itself is simple enough. Because the police team assigned are incompetent. So not only will you not have me, but you will find very few heroes willing to work with you. However, that is your choice to make. Fucking fine, the detective snapped, just like Eraserhead had known he would. For all the man's blustering, Detective Taru at least knew where he stood. And he didn't have the skills to back up this investigation, and he knew it. Namasa was a well-trusted and high-ranking detective, so it was far from uncommon to have other detectives, especially the younger ones, request help on a case. However, Detective Taruk was by no means the kind of man to ask for help, regardless of how much he may need it. So, to put it mildly, Namasa was surprised to see the other detective calling. He was even more surprised when the man gritted out a request for him to join the team. All in all, it made no sense. until, of course, he entered the room and found Eraserhead lounging in the back, watching him through fainted sleep. Ah, that explains it. The hero's approval was notoriously hard to win, and Namasa was one of the very few who had somehow won it. He sighed softly, not missing the way Eraserhead's lip twitched in a smirk at the sound. He would owe Namasa a drink after this one. How are you, a hero? Eraser Eraserhead stared at the officer who was glaring right back at him. He had flashed his quirk when the officer had activated her quirk illegally, mind you, in an attempt at some sort of heroic act, which would have gotten her killed. And now she was screaming at him for his villain's quirk. Fucking brilliant. Her partner at least looked apologetic, and Eraserhead sighed, realizing that once again he was going to have to pull in backup, largely because he needed this officer off his back so he could return to patrol without any further issues. Can you call Detective Tsukachi? Eraserhead asked, making it clear that the question was directed at the comm officer and not her screeching partner. It set a louder one off even more, but the calm one, Eraserhead thought her name was Officer Kaio, nodded, slipping away from the yelling and speaking into her comms. Begrudgingly, Eraserhead turned back to face the other officer, whose name he hadn't gotten and really didn't care to find out. She kept snarling quirkish shit at him, and he just raised an eyebrow, letting the yelling run its course. When she finally stopped for a breath, he spoke, making use of the silence. A quirk does not make someone a hero or a villain. I have a hero license, and I use my quirk to help people. That makes my quirk a heroic quirk inherently. Nothing except for the way it is used defines whether a quirk is good or bad. Humans are flawed, though, so no quirk will ever be completely good or completely bad. I know in your training you would have gotten many anti-quirkism lectures. I suggest you take those into more consideration in the future. With that being said, she went back to snarling the aggressive words, and Eraserhead just leaned back into the light pole, waiting for Sakachi to show up. He would owe the man a drink for this, but it wasn't like this officer would accept anything Eraserhead said. Sakachi was more likely to have such luck. Numasa sighed as he grabbed his keys. Great. Officer Kaio had just called requesting his help with her partner, Officer Sayaki, who was being quirkish towards an underground hero. A hero the hero had specifically requested Namasa's presence. Now, Namasa worked with plenty of underground heroes, and a large portion of them had quirks that were discriminated against, and yet without any additional information given, he just knew it was Eraserhead. He also knew the man could deal with it himself if he could be bothered. So basically, this was just a hero calling in a favor because he didn't feel like dealing with people. Which, to be fair, Namasa could understand, especially when the person was Officer Sayaka. Eraserhead needed to call in backup, but he couldn't. Not with the vigilante kid he was supposed to be arresting injured and holding on to him for support. Yeah, he really couldn't get backup and not get in not trouble for not arresting Viper. But he really did need backup, or at least someone to deal with the criminals they had caught while he tended to the kids' injuries. And not also arresting him and the vigilante. Normally, he'd call a favor from Midnight or Mike, but neither were options given they were both teaching their first years at camp. So he did the only thing that made sense. Detective Sukachi raised her head, requested through the comms, and not long later, the man who had likely been fetched joined the channel. Can I get you and Officer Anza down here to bring in some criminals? There are too many sensitive cases for me to just drag them in myself. The thugs themselves were not sensitive cases, but the kid whose leg he was about to stitch up was. And he really didn't want anyone other than the detective he trusted to be here. Is he going to arrest me? The vigilante's voice was so quiet that Eraserhead almost missed it. Almost. No, kid. Detective Scotchy is like me. We'd rather you do this the legal way, but we aren't stupid enough not recognize the help you give us. As long as you remain a benevolent vigilante and don't simply start taking the law into your own hands, we aren't going to stop you. Okay, Viper murmured, seeming to accept this. Sure enough, Sukachi arrived not long after Eraserhead and had finished the stitches. And while the man gave them a nod and a smile, he didn't approach, which seemed to relax the injured vigilante. All right. Right here, right now, this is going to be the most important lesson you have in all your years at UA. Well, that statement certainly gained the entire class's attention. Azawa Sensei so rarely embossed anything with this level of importance. In fact, most of the class were having flashbacks to their first day and threat of expulsion. As one the class watched their teacher scratch out a number on the chalkboard. 0387778833. Then, in two quick strokes, he underlined it, before turning back to the class. If at any point you are in trouble, this is the number you call. Need backup? Call this number. Need advice? This number. Need help on a case? This number. Need someone to pay bail? This number. If you need anything, this is the number you call. Especially if the issue has to do with quirkism. In fact, the moment quirkism is involved at all, directed towards you or others, you call this number. Is that understood? The class nodded. Good. Your task for today is to memorize this number. If any of you don't have it memorized tomorrow, you'll be running laps while chanting it. Is that clear? The class was now more than a little concerned. Nodded once more. Any questions? Hesitantly, Dinky Kaminari raised his hand. Kaminari, is that your phone number? Azawa Sensei stared at the kid. The kid uncertainly stared back. Finally, after deeming the question genuine, Azawa Sensei huffed out a snort. Fuck no. I'll be asleep. That's Detective Sukachi's number. Midoriya, who already had the number memorized years before this moment, simply laughed, noting that he would needed to call Sakachi and warn him that what his adopted dad was doing. This class was full of trouble magnets, and Sakachi was now being doomed to 30 more Eraserheads. Although at least he had experience with having two of them, considering how quickly Midoriya had come to trust the detective during his vigilante days. I'm gonna say right now that phone number is fake. That is a completely fake number. Do not try to call it. I know it's not a valid phone number, but still, do not try to call it for the sake of sanity. Okay? I'm gonna have to make a note at the beginning. Um, or something. Anyway, the notes do just have a little meme. Eraser. Can someone call Detective Sakachi? Rando detective. But I'm the lead detective for this case. Eraser. That's cool. Can you call Detective Sakachi? Rando detective. Do you have someone who needs his quirk used on them? Eraser. No. Rando detective. Then why do you want to call him? Eraser. Cause I'm working this case and Sakachi is the only one I trust not to fuck it up. So can you please call him? Some argument later, Rando detective calls Sakachi. Sakachi, Eraserhead got added to your case? Rando detective, how the fuck did you know? Sakachi, I'm starting to think he sees me as his babysitter. Oh, I love this fic. I am going to definitely send this into Belicor's thingy and make a note that I podficked it, and I hope that's okay. Um, I know the permission statement's there and it's open, but still, I'm a little nervous. First time I've ever done one of these. Let me end this recording now, though. Anyway, bye! I'll try to get the next series, or the series recorded, started soon. I gotta start in the first episode's thumbnail, though, since I finally have confirmation! Anyway, bye!